Just like I promised, I posted a Q&A on my Instagram and I am here to answer all of your questions. So just like I promised, last week I posted the Q&A on my Instagram and I received a lot of questions from you guys. So I am here to answer all your questions. Now, the very first question: can I still register after writing Form 5 or grade 12? Yes, you can register for the undergrad scholarship if you have graduated from your Form 5 or grade 12. The most important thing about the scholarship is that you must have your certificate once you apply for it. You need to have graduated in order to actually apply. So if you've just finished writing and you have not yet received your results or your certificate, unfortunately, you cannot apply for it. You need your certificate. The next question says, is it competitive? Like, does it only take a few students? Yes, it is very competitive. For example, I applied in Botswana and Botswana only took two students. Out of the whole country. If maybe 1,000 people applied, it only took two students and I happened to be one of them. So yes, it is very competitive. The next question says, is it 100% scholarship? Yes, it is 100% scholarship. You have your tuition, your air flights, your accommodation. Everything is covered for you and there's nothing that is going to come out of your pocket. The next question asks, can I still register for courses that are available in my country? That is a no. You can only register for courses that are available in Korea. So when you are applying for the scholarship, you're going to have to go through the university folder that will give you all the universities that you can apply for and all the majors and the courses that those universities have. And you can only apply for those specific majors or courses. And the next question says, as for GPA, can one still use high school GPA if they haven't gone to university yet? Yes, if you're applying for the undergrad scholarship, you can use your high school GPA to apply for the undergrad, because undergrad you get to do your bachelor's and you also get to do your associate degree. So you can apply for this without having gone to university yet. And then the following question says, are there specific fields or majors that are prioritized or excluded from the GKS program? Insofar as this question, I cannot give a solid answer. I can only speculate as to what majors I think they're given priority. And so far, I've seen like most science majors, like your engineering, is heavily prioritized. So if you are applying for a major that is like an engineering major, you will find like a large number of people get accepted from those majors. And as for majors that are excluded, I really cannot say. I have not been really paying that much attention to any majors that have been excluded. I think there is a very large number of majors that you can apply for. It is very inclusive of a lot of majors. Can one apply after finishing their Form 5? As similar to the question I just answered, yes. If you have graduated from your Form 5, you can apply for the undergrad scholarship. Me, I did not pass the second round of NIED after preparing since 2023. Baby, I'm so sorry that you did not get accepted. The only thing that I can say is that apply again. Don't stop applying. Now that you've gotten a hang of how the application process goes, it's going to be more easier the next time around. And just because you didn't get accepted, even though you believe like you did a lot of preparation, doesn't mean that there was something wrong with your application. It just means that there was probably someone who started preparing in 2022 or 2021. There was probably someone who did more preparations than you did and they were accepted over you. It is not you, it is just the system. So try to apply again and let's see how far you can go this time around. I think you and I will be meeting for coffee in Korea sometime soon. If I make 43 points upwards after Form 5, am I eligible? So the one thing you guys need to understand is that the GKS scholarship does not use the points system. It uses a GPA system. So if your school uses the point grade system, you're going to have to convert your points into GPA and then use that GPA to actually apply for the scholarship. You cannot use points to apply for the scholarship. Why didn't you choose to do a master's in law? Any other reason aside from my interest in international relations? So for those who don't know, I actually have a bachelor's degree in law and I actually worked as a lawyer for a couple of years. But right now I'm going to be doing my master's in international relations or area studies. So there are two reasons why I actually chose this major. The first one being that when I was still studying law, I fell in love with international law and I knew that I wanted to pursue more studies in anything related to international law. And when I was applying to the scholarship, the one major that kind of met all of the things that I wanted to do was area studies and international relations. That's why I applied to this major. That is one reason. Now, the second reason is that most courses in the scholarship are going to be offered in Korean. And I didn't know Korean all that much, and I didn't trust myself. Like, in the 1 year that we're given to learn Korean, I'm going to learn enough Korean to be able to understand any courses in law in Korean. It was already hard enough for me during my 5 years of law school to understand half of the concepts. So I was afraid that if I do a master's in law, I'm not going to understand a lot of concepts in Korean. International relations is taught 100% in English. So I wanted to do a major that was taught 100% in English. So another factor that played into me choosing this major was the fact that it is taught in English. Any tips for embassy interview to convince the committee that one is qualified for GKS? The one thing I actually did that I think worked well for me when I was doing the embassy interview is I was confident. Like, already, because I'm a lawyer, I am used to speaking a lot and I'm used to being very confident. I believe I have really good interpersonal skills when it comes to speaking out. So I think that did work out for me. So if you're someone who's very awkward and shy and cannot speak very loudly and speak very confidently and proudly, I would say start practicing how to speak confidently and like you know what you're doing. I didn't know half of the things like I was saying, but because I was so confident when giving out my answers and it felt like I knew what I was doing, I felt like that played a very big role into me getting chosen. So practice your speakings, practice your confidence. I am going to make a video about the embassy interview and I'm going to be sharing like the questions that I received. So take those questions and practice them. Practice. And when you receive this interview, you're able to actually say it with a lot of confidence. How much can one spend in the GKS application process, as in the medical, the visas, and all that? Honestly, if I were to estimate how much I used in total, it's around 2,000 pula. Yeah, I think it's around 2,000 pula, more or less. Because for me, I think the most money I spent was using cabs. I had to go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I had to go to UB. I had to go to the post office. I had to go to all these places. And I often had like only one day to do all of this because of my job. So I used cab a lot to go to those different places. I was lucky enough because I was working. So I printed most of my documents at my workplace. So I didn't spend a lot of money going to internet cafes to like print my documents. But if you're someone who has to use print cafes, you're gonna have to spend money with printing and copying. I think the most money I spent was because of DHL. As you guys know, in Botswana we do not have a Korean embassy, so I had to courier my documents from Botswana to South Africa. So I had to courier first my application documents, and then I had to courier my passport to get my visa, and then courier the passport back from South Africa back to Botswana once the visa was issued. So I think like the most costs went towards DHL expenses. So I think if you budget around 2,000 pula, that is kind of enough. I want to do a major in international relations in GKS undergrad, but I don't have a certificate related to it. But then I have a topic 3, should I choose PNU? So if you're applying for GKS undergrad, you don't need any certificate. You only need your high school graduation certificate with your GPA. So if you have a topic 3, actually that puts you in a very good standing. So you should apply. And if you want to come to PNU, you probably have a good standing, because I didn't even have a topic 3, but I still got accepted. So it's a good thing that you already have topic 3. You stand a very good chance of being accepted. So yeah, you can apply for PNU. And then the next question says, will the university you have selected for your course be the same for your language program? Yes, the same university you're going to do your 1 year of language is going to be the same university that you're going to be doing your degree program. Before, you used to do your language program in a different city and university, and then do your degree in a different city and university. But since last year, this has changed. You do everything in one university. The next question says, do you get to choose your roommate? No, you don't get to choose your roommate. They're just automatically assigned to you. I think like maybe 2 weeks before you come here, they're going to let you know your room number, and they're not going to even tell you your roommate or your roommate's name. So the first time you arrive here is going to be the first time that you're seeing your roommate or even knowing her name for the first time. Can you cook in the hostels? No, you cannot cook in the hostels. Unless you have a religion that specifies that you cannot eat like non-halal food. There is a halal kitchen that is provided for people that cannot eat non-halal food so that they can cook their food. So unless you fit that description, you cannot cook in the hostels. Which document did you use to prove your parents' nationality as a Motswana. I use my parents' passport. I just did a photocopy of like the information page, and then that's what I use to prove their citizenship. Is it necessary to contact the professor if you're applying for graduate school? No, it is not necessary to actually contact the professors. I didn't contact any professors and I got accepted. But for some specific majors, when you are applying for them, it specifically tells you that you have to contact a professor before you apply. So the best thing for you to do is that before you apply for whatever major you want to apply for, go through the university folder and go through the guidelines and the requirements that are needed for you to apply for that specific major. This is especially so for majors that have lab work. You're going to have to contact a professor who's going to agree to become your supervisor well before you apply for this major. And you're going to have to attach their letter or their recommendation or their acceptance to your application form. Have you ever experienced racism since you have been to Korea? For me, I don't think there's ever been like a blatant case of racism. Is there even like a blatant case of racism and no blatant case of racism? Other people being chosen over you to do some things. Like in clubs, you will not get approached as much as like other nationalities. As long as you're black, you will not get approached as much. And sometimes it's like racism that comes from lack of knowledge, like people saying stuff without knowing that it's actually not nice to say them, but just only because they're not learned and you have to like teach them about it. So I don't think there's like a specific case where I felt like, oh my god, that is like racism. But I have a friend who has experienced it, and I can tell you like it's not a nice experience at all, and it's something you have to prepare yourself for. In the 21st century, it's not something you should have to prepare yourself for. Just prepare yourself for instances where you're not going to be chosen just because of your skin color. Can I apply after rewriting my BGCSE exams? And if so, how many points do I need? Yes, you can apply after rewriting your BGCSE exams. And like I said before, the scholarship does not use point system to apply for the scholarship. You need a GPA. So if your school uses a point system, you're going to have to convert those points into GPA and then use that to apply for the scholarship. When is the scholarship open and where do I start the whole process? So the scholarship opens in 2 frames. If you want to apply for a graduate scholarship, you're going to apply when it opens in February or March of every year. And if you want to apply for your undergrad, it opens every September every year. And to start the process, you can either apply by submitting your documents to an embassy near you, or you can send your documents directly by post office to the university that you're applying for. Does GKS offer an advanced diploma? I am currently in my final year of study and I'm interested in continuing my studies in South Korea. So unfortunately, the GKS scholarship does not offer an advanced diploma. You can only do an associate degree, an undergraduate degree, and you can do your graduate degrees. I wrote my WAEC in another school. Am I to get an explanation letter from that school and attach it? So I did not know what a WAEC was. I had to research that, and I found out that it's actually similar to what we have in my country, which is the BGCSE, which is your high school examinations. So yes, if the documents that you're going to be using are going to be from 2 different schools, you're going to need an explanation letter as to why your certificate is from a different school than the one that you are receiving your recommendation letters and your transcripts. So the best thing I can advise you is to ask that school for an explanation as to why your certificate has a different emblem or school attached to it. Is something different in the provisional certificate and expected graduation certificate? From what I know, they're kind of similar. However, a provisional certificate is like a temporary copy of your degree. So it has like your grades and what majors you have done. While an expected graduation certificate is like a certificate shows like which majors you were enrolled for and the fact that you have completed them and you're about to graduate. In recent years, the GKS scholarship is slowly turning away people who only have provisional certificates and expected graduation certificates. It's really lenient towards people who have already graduated and already have like a certificate with them. Okay, and then for the last question, What are the requirements for admission on the GKS scholarship? So this question, I recently answered it on my last video that is posted Sunday, talking about the admission requirements and everything you need to do to apply for the scholarship. So if you guys have not seen that video, head on over to my channel. So that's it for this Q&A question. So if you guys have any more questions relating to the GKS scholarship, I post my Q&A poll every Monday and Tuesday on my Instagram. So if you're not already following me on my Instagram, go ahead and follow me on my Instagram. If there's anyone's question that I have not answered, or if you feel like I have not answered your question fully, just comment down below with your question and I will answer you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.